Hello friends, welcome in this session. Today I will let you know how we can monitor the AWS resources. So what are the different methods to monitor the AWS resources? And which method we should choose? So it depends on company to company environment. Okay. So before starting, please subscribe my channel to get the more upcoming videos, and please also click on the bell icon to get the notification as I will upload the videos. So let me start. What is AWS monitoring? So why we need the AWS monitoring, why it is much more important. So AWS monitoring is like that we can monitor our Linux server as well as the AWS servers. How we can monitor over both of type of the environment in a company. So friends, please watch this video till the end so that you will get an idea how we can monitor the resources in a company live environment. So here I will let you know how we can monitor the our data center Linux servers and our cloud servers, and what monitoring methods we should use. So monitoring methods is vary as company to company and environment to environment, and also depend on how much number of servers we have in our data centers and how many number of servers we have in our cloud. Which number is higher? The local data center servers is higher or the on cloud servers is higher? So we will discuss all of these things, and also we will cover different topics like which one is the best monitoring tool, how we can identify an issue before it's coming into the critical stage, and what are the disadvantage of CloudWatch. Actually, CloudWatch is one of the services that AWS will provide to monitor their own services, only the cloud services. AWS will not provide you the option to monitor the services other than the AWS services. So we need to create custom scripts, custom matrices, and with the help of that custom scripts, we can generate the custom matrix, and through that we can monitor the resources. So it's not an easy task. For that, for creating up scripts, we need to learn the Python in very depth, and we will get more videos about the CloudWatch, but you will not get even a single video on how we can monitor the AWS resources through the Nagios. So here we will discuss the real environment monitoring, how we can monitoring our local data center servers, and how we can monitor the servers that is on the cloud AWS, and what methods we should choose. So to monitor the AWS resources, AWS recommended to use the CloudWatch. So CloudWatch having some limitations, you can only monitor the default matrices. Actually, CloudWatch Amazon provides some default matrices. Default matrices. Okay. So in the default matrices, you will not get the disk utilization, not getting the disk utilization, not getting the memory utilization. You will not get these things. You will never get these things by default. So to monitor disk utilization, like how much the disk has been used, how much is free, how much the total memory, how much the memory is used, how much the memory is free. So to monitor these all the things, you need to write a Python code. You need to write a Python code, and through that Python code, you will generate a custom matrix, and based on that custom matrix, we can monitor it. But everyone did not know about the Python code. And another disadvantage is it will not provide the dashboard. Like, you will not get an idea before getting alerts into the critical stage. So if we have a dashboard, then we will get all the reports, like which services is in warning state, which services is in critical state, which services is in normal state. So it will not provide the dashboard. So through the CloudWatch, you will not get the report before going the services into the critical. So not provide warning, not provide state or stage before critical. So it's not easy to monitor our own services, because to write the code to monitor our own services, we need to write a code, and we need to use the Python or the JS node. So you will get a lot of videos over the CloudWatch, but CloudWatch having these type of the disadvantages. So is there any other method to monitor the cloud resources? Yes, there is. Another method is the Nagios. So Nagios having different advantages. Like, it's provide the dashboard, easy to monitor the host, easy to write the code to monitor the host, because we can write the code in bash scripts also, and bash is very easy. So let's take a look how the Nagios looks like and what the features inside the Nagios and how we can monitor our AWS resources over to the Nagios. So we need to open some ports in our security groups. So let me start it. How the Nagios will look like. In the Nagios we will get all the notification like warning before going and service into the critical stage. So we will become aware before going a service into the critical stage. So how we can start to monitor the services on the Nagios. So first we need to create an account on the AWS, then need to log in into the AWS account. Then we can create two instances, one for to configuring the Nagios server and another one is for that node that we can monitor on that Nagios server. Remote monitoring node of the client. After that, log in into one host, SSH on one host so that we can configure the Nagios server over to that host. After that, install and configure the Nagios. Okay, so for installing and configuring Nagios, we have different checklist. Okay, so let me complete first thing, log in into the AWS account. So first you need to create an AWS account. AWS will provide 1 year free tier subscription in which you don't need to pay even a single pi. So this will be free of cost for a year. So next step is to log in into the AWS account. So let me log in into my AWS account. So provide the password to log in and click on a sign in. Come on the EC2 services. Under the instances, let me launch two instances, one for the monitoring node and another one for the remote monitoring client. Go with to.micro, default one adding, use the default one, tags, give the name as Nagios server. Let me use the existing security groups in which you need to open port 22. Okay, let me define that in a while. Okay, so in default security groups I have opened, suppose that you have only port 22 has been opened. After that you need to open a port 80, port 5666. So let me comes in a while, review and launch the instances, use the existing key pair. Let me create another one instance so that I can monitor the new another one host into the through the Nagios server. Remote client node. Use the same existing security key pair. Review and launch. Okay, so let me use the Nagios server. So over that we have created one instance on the over the cloud, and over that we can configure the AWS monitoring server, that is Nagios. Now I'm logging into the server. So first we need to install the Nagios server. After that we can add some nodes into that monitoring server. I have searched multiple links and I can find this one is a good link to install and configure the Nagios. So through the Nagios you can monitor different services like, and also the CPU load, memory usage, disk, logs, running process, and apart from that you can also monitor much more things like how many number of processes still are running. If there is a MySQL process, then we can monitor it so that we can assure that it will be running. Otherwise I will get an alert. How many number of queries is still running, how many process is in hung state, how many process is in zombie state. So we can monitor any one of the things through the Nagios. So Nagios is good. So there are some prerequisites. So now I'm configuring. Now I'm going to install and configure the Nagios. So to install and configure the Nagios, first we need to install dependencies, then add Nagios user, then add the Nagios into the NAG CMD group. After that we can install the Nagios, and in the installation part first we need to create resource of the build resource, then we need to compile the resources, compile it, then install it. So at the fifth step I will install or configure Nagios plugin. So what is the plugin? Inside that plugin we have some codes, and that code is used to monitor your resources. So plugin is just like a file file of code in which we have written some codes so that it will work to monitor our resources. Let's start from install dependencies. So let me follow this link. This link is very good. I found that it's very helpful for all of you guys. So I will paste these link in our description so that you can follow and you can configure these in your own companies or in your own laptop. Now add a Nagios user add Nagios. Then we will add groups, and then we can add Nagios user inside that group. So if you will install a Nagios server over to the cloud EC2, then you need to install the wget. Apart from that, you need to some dependencies like HTTP package. So Apache server is running on port or on a service HTTP PHP. GCC lib is the compiler that is used to compile the resources, to compile the source code. And these also used in some development. Zip and ngzip, it will used like when I will run that command make install. So that are some dependencies. Let me run the user add Nagios. After that, user add nagcmd, then user mode. Then I will added the Nagios user into the nagcmd, and then add a Apache user into the nagcmd group. After that, go to this temp directory. Let's download that package. Now in our lab setup, I'm going to install or configure the Nagios 4.3.4, but in the market 4.3.4 is also available. So you don't need to go here and there. You need to replace 2 with a 4. So you will get a latest package. But I'm going to install we can download it the tarball file of the Nagios package in the temp directory. So we have downloaded it into the temp folder. So here is the Nagios tarball file. So let me extract it from here. Now it's extracted. So let me go into the Nagios. Inside that, actually this is the source code. Actually we have the source code and we need to build the source code, then need to compile it. So how we can build our code first? So the /configure /configure is here. Inside this, here is the configure. This is the configure. So we can use /configure ---- with -Nagios -group. Here we can define the group, which group been allocated to the source code, and with command group, which one is the command group. After that, make all, make install. So make all, what make all will done? Make all will compile with the help of GCC compiler. So it will compile. After that, we can able to install the different components. Make install. Now I have resetted the password. Now I have restarted the HTTP service. After restarting the HTTP service, make it enable so that the HTTP service will start at the boot time. Now let's try to access the Nagios server through the web console. So to access it, so we have a Nagios server. For that Nagios server, we have security groups. Let me open it in a new browser. By default, all of the ports has been disabled. Now you can access the Nagios through this public IP, and now here public IP/Nagios. But it is not accessible because it's going to the Nagios server through port 80, and port 80 has been blocked, not open till now. So let me open a port 80 first. Add the rule. Okay, custom for all. Here I will use for all of the IPs, but in the companies in the production I will not allow all of this IPs. Let me try to make it access. Sorry, there is spelling mistake. Nagios. So username is the username of Nagios admin, and password I have given at the time Red Hat. So now it's accessible. We have installed and configured the Nagios core because it's open source and free of cost. Actually, to monitor it, there is also Nagios XI, but it's paid one. So I will not go with them. So here I will get an error message. Oops, could not read object configuration data, because according to that I have installed and configured the Nagios, but I have not installed and configured the Nagios plugin. So now I will go to install and configure the Nagios plugin so that Nagios will work smoothly. Fine. So now let's configure the Nagios contacts here. Here let me add my contact. Here is the email. So let's replace the email with your company group email ID, so that for every alert you will also get an email on your company email ID. Okay, I will give my own email ID, records@gmail.com. So I will give the group email ID here, so that for every alert I will get a notification on that. But for the notification, you first need to configure the mail server. Fine, I have changed the email ID with my own group email ID. Now it's time to download and install the Nagios plugin so that our Nagios monitoring server will work smoothly. So now here we can download the Nagios plugin. Here is the latest version of the plugin is 2.2.1. Let's come in the CD and wget the package. After that I will export it. Now after exporting, so let me show you first. Here is our Nagios plugin. First we have installed the Nagios. Now it's time to install the Nagios plugin. CD Nagios -plugin. So let's me go into the extracted plugin. So ls-l. Here is also you will get an configure source code. So first you need to configure it, but here I will also provide the Nagios user and Nagios group, so that our code will be built. After build the code, we will compile our code and make it install and then install it. Now let's compile the code with the make command. Now it's compiling the code. Then we use the make install to install the Nagios plugin. Now let's use the make install. So it has installed the plugins. So where is the plugins? Here is the plugin inside the user local Nagios lib exec. Here we can get all of the plugins, check_dhcp and check_icmp. Actually for the Nagios server and for the client which we are monitor on the Nagios server. So for both of the servers, plugin path is different. So for the Nagios server, plugin path is this one. Now I have installed. Start the Nagios server. First, let me check the configuration file. So here at the top, I will get the Nagios version. So here Nagios core 4.3.2. Now let's start the Nagios service. So on the Nagios server, whenever I will do some changes, every time I need to restart the Nagios to make the changes as permanent. Now enable the Nagios at the booting time, so that Nagios will start automatically at the boot time. So let me disable the SE Linux and set the enforce as 0, so that it will change from enforcing mode to the permissive mode. Now I don't need to edit the IP tables because I will work with the security groups. Now let me try to log in into the Nagios. Now our Nagios server should be working fine. So we have installed a Nagios server, configured a Nagios server. So Nagios server, first monitor it yourself by default. So we have one node as an up, and here are we can get a services. So one service is okay, but other one is the pending state. So it will do the health check and then it will mention the health checks as an status as okay, warning and critical also. Here are our host groups, service groups, and other things. So in the company environment, let me show you what the things we need to monitor it, what things we need to check it, and how we can get the alerts, and how we can get the tickets on basis of the alerts. So here you can see over Nagios server is monitoring yourself. So here are some services are okay, some is warning, some is in critical state. So what is mean by critical state? It means over swap space is 0%. So that's why it is in swap space 100% used. So that's why it shows is it critical. So in the company environment, we need to click on a critical here, and we need to monitor only the critical services, critical alerts. And if there is no critical alerts, then we need to check all of the warnings. Fine. So let's come on my PPT so that you will get more things here. So here AWS monitoring method. So actually there are multiple many methods. CloudWatch is one of them, but we already discussed what are the disadvantages of the CloudWatch and why we need to use the Nagios. So through the Nagios, we can get an idea if any service will go into the critical state. So before critical state, that application comes in the warning state first. If we have not resolved it in the warning state, so after some time, after 1 day or 2 day, it will be going to the critical state. So we can get the notification before any service goes into the critical state, and we will be aware how much the number of services are in critical, are in warning, and how many number of servers are up, how many numbers of servers are down, and how many servers are unreachable. So Nagios can monitor more custom services, so we can see these things in a while. So which topics we will cover? Which one is the best monitoring tool? So CloudWatch is also best in the monitoring tool because we can use the CloudWatch with the Lambda. We can do some event like whenever the instance state will change from pending to the start, then we can do some event on that basis, on the event change basis, state change basis. We can also use the CloudWatch with the Lambda functions. So we can do some automation task on basis of CloudWatch. We can do the auto scaling and the load balancer configuration so that overload will increase, so that some nodes will be scale up and scale down. That means some nodes will be add automatically or decrease automatically from our infrastructure to adjust the market demand. Right? So CloudWatch is also good, but Nagios is good because it provide the dashboard, and we will be aware before an service comes in the critical state. So which one is best monitoring tool? If any interviewer will ask, so you can manipulate your answer. You can put the advantages and disadvantages of the CloudWatch, and after you can put the advantage of the Nagios also. So cost is also a factor to decide which one we should use. If our most of the infra is in local data center, then we should use the Nagios. If our most of the infra is over the cloud, so we should use the CloudWatch, and we can use the Nagios also for our production servers. So how to catch an issue before coming it in critical state? So we can get the issue in warning before it goes into the critical state. If I will not resolve it for some time, for 1 day or 2 day, it depend on our environment, so it will go into the critical state. So can I configure a dashboard for AWS monitoring? Yes, we can configure it, and we can configure the more services in the monitoring dashboard in a while. How AWS monitoring is implemented in companies? So in the companies, we can implement the Nagios, the same thing, and now we can going to implement, or we can going to add much more nodes into the monitoring server for the monitoring purposes. So how to add new AWS server in monitoring? So let's see how we can add new servers in the monitoring Nagios server. So here we have done these things. Yes, right, we have done, and it's verified and working. So here I have divided the screen in two parts. One is for the Nagios server and one is for the monitoring server. Now I'm going to add a monitoring server into the Nagios server for the monitoring part. First, we need to create a client. First, I have already created a AWS host client. First, we need to SSH into it. After that, we need to install Nagios plugin. After that, we can install the Nagios plugin through the same, like through the configure and the make command with the, then install the NRP plugin. For installing both of them, we need to install and repositories. So these packages are included in the EPL repo. So we need to install do the SSH and install EPL repo. After that, we can install the Nagios plugin and NRP plugin. Okay. After that, suppose that we have approximately 1000 monitoring nodes and I need to put all of these nodes into the monitoring servers. So we need to make it allow so that if anyone can request from these Nagios server, if these Nagios server requested from a particular IP, here is the IP, so that I can allow it. So allow Nagios server IP in etc Nagios nrp.cfg. So we have installed all of these things. How the Nagios server will sync and will monitor the services that are running over these clients, monitoring clients. How the Nagios server will identify all of these things, like if any service is in critical, how the Nagios server is sync all of these things. So Nagios server will use SSH and NRP. SSH and NRP, we have two methods through which both of that can sync each other. So SSH is not too much secure, so that's why we are not using the SSH in the industries, in the company's real-time environment. So we are using the NRP. So we are going with the NRP. So provide the IP and the NRP plugin. So to make the authentication through the NRP plugin, we also need to install the NRP plugin here. We can define which services that we need to monitor. Then start the NRP service. Then configure Nagios server under user local etc Negus.cfg. After that, here we can assign the path of host we need to monitor, which is the file where we have mentioned all of the host or services we need to monitor. So we can assign these things here. Then we can define the host that we need to monitor. Then define the services that we need to monitor. Then restart the Nagios. So here is another link to add a remote host into the monitoring node. So first, let me log in into the remote client host which I want to monitor. So I want to monitor this one host. Click on a connect, copy it from here, mark it as close. Let me SSH into that another host. According to this, first install EPL repo, then install Nagios plugin and then NRP plugin. So let's install the EPL repository. Then install the NRP and Nagios plugin. After that, we need to configure the NRP and we can allow the Nagios server into the remote host. We can allow the Nagios server that you can come here and sync with the remote host. So you are allowed here. Now Nagios has been installed. Let me allow the IP, find out the allow. Here is the allowed host. Now I need to add Nagios server IP. So let me copy the Nagios public IP. So you can use the public IP. Okay. So in the same file, you got these type of the checks and commands. So what are these commands will do? These commands will monitor the user's current login user, current load of the server, check disk, and these things. But this can monitor the resources for the Nagios server. That is not for the remote client host. Okay, no need to change anything here. So let me start the NRP on the remote host and systemctl enable NRP. I have enabled the NRP so that anytime our system will be rebooted, then it will be start at the initial level booting time. So let's come on the Nagios server in which we have installed the Nagios. So now let's come on over here install Nagios plugin on the remote host and RP plugin. Yes, I have done. Allowed Nagios server IP in etc Nagios on Apache. Yes, I have already done. Define services that need to monitor, then start the NRP service. So let's come here. Need to install the NRP plugin from APL repository. So first, then need to configure the Nagios CFG. So let me come on the Nagios server and then install the APL repo first. Enter. So at the last of the line, so let's copy it here and paste it. So here I will define the command, define command. So if I need to define the host, then we can use the define host. If I need to define the service, then use a define service. Here I am defining the command, so use a define command keyword. So let's copy, come the last of the file, insert it. So we have defined a command name is check_nrp, and we use the check_nrp with all of the plugins, all of the services that I want to monitor it on all of the remote host. So I will use check_nrp with all of that services which I want to monitor it. Now, so inside the configuration file, I have defined that this is the directory. Inside that, if there is any file with the .cfg extension, then Nagios will consider that as a configuration file. So here, create a file with any name but with a .cfg extension inside this directory. So inside this directory, we can define any of the configuration file. So let me copy this. So what we can do here, inside this file, I have mentioned what host it should need to be monitored. So I have defined a host. Nagios server will monitor the host with a host name, this, and IP this. So you need to change the host name, alias, and the IP with that host which you want to monitor it. Here is the define host group. Here you can define multiple hosts in a group. So here is the host name, host group name, and here you can define all of the host which you want to make the member of this host group. Here you can define which services you want to monitor. So here I want to monitor the swap uses, okay, root partition size, current users, how many number of current users is logged in, total number of process, and the current loads. So let's copy. I have defined all of these things in one file, but in the companies we can use different files for the host define and different file for the service definition define. Let's copy and paste. So I need to change all of the host name and this IP with the host which I want to monitor it. So I want to monitor the remote client node. I want to monitor this host. So let me copy that DNS name. Fine. Let me change that host name with our host name sed-i.back to change in the same file /control-shift-insert/ let me paste my host name here, insert, provide the input file name. Input file name is this one. Now it has been changed. If you want to check it with a vi command, then you can check it. So our host name is change here. Now I need to change that address with my remote host IP. Same sed-i.back this IP with my remote host IP. So my remote host public IP is this one. So let me change it /g, then the file name. So here is the file name, this one, Control-Shift-Insert. So let me verify, is my IP changed or not? So now you can see my host name is also changed and my IP address is also changed in all of the file. Fine, let me out from here. After that, let me check it if there is an issue or any error with my configuration file. No, there is no error. So you will get a Nagios version here also. So now let's start the Nagios service Nagios restart. So every time whenever you will add a host for the monitoring or add a service in the monitoring on the monitoring server, then you need to restart the Nagios service. No need to add it in a firewall, because in a AWS the virtual firewall is called as security groups. So here are the security groups in which we have added a port 80 and port 22. Now it has been completed. So let's do a check. Is this working or not? Hosts, yes, it's working, but here I will get a one host is up, one is down. So why I will get a down here? Because Nagios server will check the host reachability through a ping command, but here I have not opened a ping port. So let me open a ping here. So all ICMP IPv4. I have opened it for all the IP. Okay. Now let's do a force check here, because automatically if it will check, it will take some time. So I have scheduled it to check it right now. Click on the hosts. Now both of the host is up. Let me come under the services. It shows, okay, current load critical. Why critical? It shows the check NRP status critical. Why? Socket timeout after 30 seconds. Why it shows the socket timeout? Because both of the servers will sync with the NRP plugin. So I have opened a port with for NRP plugin so that both of these can communicate with each other through that particular port. So NRP is working on port 5666. Let me open the port 5666 also. Added it. Add. So let me add a custom TCP rule only for a particular port. It's 5666. Okay, I will mention here for all of my IPs, but in the company's real-time environment we should not use all of the IPs and all of the IP range we should not use in the company environment. So let's come here. So let me forcefully recheck it. Click on a commit. Done. Come under the services. So here status is okay. Now we can see that all of the process is in monitoring state. So load is okay, current user is okay, partition swap is in critical state. Why should the swap and partition is in critical state? So let me show you that. Command check underscore root not defined. What it mean? You will also get this type of issues in the production environment when you will work in a live company environment. So what it mean? It means that you have not defined the command underscore check. First, let me show you how the Nagios will work. Fine. So let me come under my host. So the how Nagios will work. First, Nagios goes to its configuration file, and in configuration file I have mentioned that Nagios will go all of the configuration file inside this directory. So inside this directory we have a one file. So Nagios will read this file first, and I have mentioned that please monitor this host and also monitor below services. Here I have mentioned that swap underscore uses, it's a description, but check underscore command is check underscore swap. So here I have monitored check underscore swap with the help of NRP. Monitor check underscore root partition storage size with the help of NRP. Check underscore user, how many users has been logged in with the check underscore NRP. So here it will read all of these things, and it is find that it need to check these things on this server. So it goes into this server and find out these command where that command has been defined, like where this command has been defined, check underscore root. So let's come in this host name through the NRP plugin. Nagios server, come into that and come into the etc nagios nrp.cfg. Here at the last we have mentioned all of these things like check underscore user. Here it check, come into that host name and check for check underscore swap, check underscore root. So here we have not defined two things, check underscore swap and check underscore root. That's why I'm getting this alert, check underscore root and check underscore swap is not defined. Apart from that, all of these things like check underscore user, check underscore load, check underscore total process, all of these things has been defined here. Fine. So let me define these commands. Let me copy the whole thing. So let me insert. Okay. So let's define a command here. So the system is looking for check underscore swap, swap swap, and check underscore root. So system here I have defined, you need to check it, check underscore swap and check underscore root on this host. So this, it will come inside this host and find out check underscore root or check underscore swap into the etc Nagios nrp.cfg. So I have defined check underscore root here, check underscore root, and I want a warning whenever the root size will got full approx 70%, it will got full 70% and comes in the critical stage whenever it will got full on 80%. Check underscore swap, check underscore swap. I want the warning whenever our swap has been used to 60% and in the critical when our swap is used 80% in the used 80%, then I want to take it in a critical state. So these plugins user from here, it will search the check underscore root command defined in this host. So it come in this host and check this check underscore root in this configuration. So here is the check underscore root and check underscore swap. So it will check these plugins. So these plugin also should be there in the user lib64 Nagios plugins. So these plugins should be here. So let me save it and check if the plugin is here or not. User lib64 Nagios plugins. So here is the check underscore swap. Yes, check underscore swap plugin is there. Check underscore root. No, check underscore root is not there. So whenever I will do some changes here, so I have done the changes in etc Nagios nrp.cfg. So for that I need to restart the nrp systemctl restart nrp so that it will reload the changes that I have done. So let me recheck it again forcefully. And check the root partition again there. Now it shows that unable to read output and warning percentage should be more than the critical percentage. Okay, warning percentage should be more than the critical percentage. What it mean? So let me show you once. Warning percentage should be more than critical ones. So here the plugin is written like that, free. How much the swap is free, then I will get a notification. So here I have mentioned that whenever this will remains free 30%, that's coming in the critical, or whenever it will remains 10% free, then it will comes in the critical stage. So systemctl restart nrp again. So let me check it again forcefully. Let me check the swap again. So actually on the cloud, when I will work on with a free tier, so in a free tier, if I will use free -m, so actually in the free tier, swap utilization is 0 because by default there is no swap created. So let's see, comes in the services. So it comes in the critical part because the free space is 0. So it also show a message swap critical 0% free. And here it shows the nrp unable to read output because there is no plugin for check underscore root. So before that, here we are getting message service not defined. So I have defined it in etc Nagios nrp.cfg, but plugin was not there in user lib64 Nagios plugins. So now the advanced interview question, there is an advanced interview question, how we can create our own custom services and how we can monitor them. So to monitor custom scripts, suppose that I want to monitor the Apache server here. So I need to install it first, then make a plugin in user lib64 Nagios plugins. So make the plugin with a check underscore my Apache. So after creating a plugin, first install it, second make the plugin, third I need to define the command in etc Nagios nrp.cfg, and we need to make the plugin in usr lib64 then Nagios then plugins, And after defining that, let's come in the file that we have created with .cfg. Okay, inside that file we need to add new service, add service of remote client. First I need to install Apache. Let me first install the Apache here. So yum install httpd. Yes. Okay, now I will start systemctl enable httpd. Still I have not started my Apache server. Okay, now I need to add a plugin into the plugin path. Where was my plugin path? User lib64 Nagios, then plugins, then check underscore. So check underscore Apache is not available here. So let me create a new plugins here with the name of check underscore Apache. I have already created this type of the plugin script, and also I have some more scripts because I'm working in the current company's environment. So let me insert it. So what that script will do, so that script use a ps-ef, then grab the service name. So suppose that you want to monitor the MySQL service, you want to monitor the HTTP service, FTP service, and any one of the services. So you need to just define service is equal to HTTP, MySQL, and any one of the service. It's maybe MongoDB. So ps-ef and grab HTTP. So it will come here HTTP, then grab root. Okay, I will show you why I will grab the root here. Then echo service is running. If the output is greater than 0, then echo service is running. Else I will show a message need to start the HTTP. So in the company, in the real environments, I need to create a plugins like if that is not running, then it will be running automatically. So I need these type of stuffs, like I need to restart the plugin slow. So if slash etc need.d service start, or if it is in a rel 7, so systemctl start dollar service. So let me copy the whole command. What it will do, let me show you. Okay, colon wq, control shift insert, at the place of service let me pass the value of that variable. So here it will provide us 0 because there is no HTTP package running. ps-ef, then grab httpd. So we have mentioned that if there is the value is not greater than 0, then it's come in the else part and it will comes in the critical. So there is also one benefit of the Nagios. So there are exit states, and with exit codes, if exit code is 0, that means that comes in the green part in the normal stage. If exit value is 1, then it's come in the warning in blue color. If exit state is 2, so here exit state is 2, so it will become in the critical part. If exit state will be 4, then it will become in the unknown part. So here it should become in the critical part. So I have created the plugin. So created a plugin. So define commands in etc nagios and rp.cfg for that plugin. So let me define that slash etc nagios and rp.cfg, shift G. Let me copy it. Copy only this one part because I don't need to give the warning and critical percentage because I have already defined some conditions there. Up check underscore Apache, and let me pass the check underscore Apache here. Okay, so let me define it in this monitoring configuration file. So here the check underscore root, that this name should be same, that name should be same with that name. Okay. This command is same as, should be same as with this command, and this name should be same with the plugin name. So this name should be same as the name with the same name that we have created a plugin. So now let me add this Apache in our monitoring server. Let's come on the shift with the shift G, come in insert mode, and let me paste the whole command, same with the same command, but I need to change the description. Suppose that here I will give Apache check by attack hertz. So that message will become here in the service. Here I will get the description message here. Let me show you. Check underscore Apache. Whenever I will add new server, so I need to restart service Nagios restart, and here I have added and changes the configuration file here. So I need to restart the systemctl, restart, and RPE. So the two things, an RPE services work on the client node and Nagios services work on the monitoring node, Nagios monitoring server. Let me refresh it. Comes under the services. So here we have mentioned description Apache check by attack hertz. So here that description message will be available, seen. So service check schedule for this, let me schedule it forcefully for right now. So here it will show unable to read output. That means there are two things. The plugin should be not available, or the plugin is not in not executable form. But I have created a plugin, so let me check the permission. Here I am the monitoring node. Let me come in the client node. ls-l /user lub64 Nagios plugins check underscore Apache. So I have not given the executable permission here. So let me give the executable permission so that it will be in executable in accessible form. So let me reschedule it, commit it, done. Come under the services. So now as we seen that this is in a critical state, need to start HTTPD. So there are two methods. Let me show you. So first let me systemctl start HTTPD because it has stopped right now. So let me forcefully recheck it again. Commit it. So now let me check the status, and if you want then you can also check the status with that script also. Okay, so now HTTP is running, so that message should also be visible here under the services. So now it shows us HTTP is running. So let me stop it again. So stop it again. Now let me recheck it forcefully. Reschedule recheck. Okay, now it's done. Come under the services part. So now it's critical. Need to start HTTPD because it's not running. Or if you want to check with that here with that scripts, so you can also do check. So let me. So here I don't want this message. I want that whenever it will come, so it will be restarted. Systemctl restart HTTPD. So whenever it will fail, it will be automatically restarted, and we get a mail that HTTP has been failed and we have restarted it. So now it's failed. I have not started my Apache, so it should be started automatically. So as we see now, Apache has been restarted automatically. So guys, I have seen how AWS monitoring is implemented in companies, how to add new AWS service in monitoring. So, but in the companies we cannot add the host manually. Actually, we have written some scripts, Ansible playbooks, and we can add only the host IP into that host list, and that can be the host can be added into the monitoring by the Ansible or by the Puppet automatically. So how to monitor my own service, that is Apache or MySQL, I have already shown that. Okay, so what we have done, so we have resolved some dependency, how we can install the Nago server. So I think we don't need to show all of these slides. So thank you guys. So we will come again with some new hands-on experience how we can implement the things and how we can do a hands-on experience in a company live environment. And I will also let you know like interview questions, how we can use that things in the companies in a real-time environment. So please share, subscribe and like my videos to get the more upcoming videos. Thank you guys. Have a good day. Goodbye.